Good evening, everyone. So everyone's username starts with ats now instead of just FatFilbert, and you know, mine as well. Although mine isn't very different. It's just Dirty Blue Shop or at Dirty Blue Shop instead of Dirty Blue Tube for YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I hope everyone's doing okay. Hope everything is okay, sound and picture. Thank you, FatFilbert. Well, Ian, it's mine as well. It's on my side as well. Everyone just, you know. So I don't think there's a need to leave. It's in all my different applications as well. YouTube itself, as well as OBS and the chat stream. So I think it's a live thing now. Maybe. Not quite sure. If you think what's the noise behind me, you don't hear it behind me. But anyway, I have an Indian Yellow Experiment that is stirring. Anyway, I'll just nope, still the same, at least for me. I'll just wait a little bit until I start with everything before you know. I started my stream a little bit earlier today. I'm not going to make it very long. I have a busy and long day ahead tomorrow. So it's maybe it's just a user interface thing from YouTube in the live, so I don't know. Anyway, as I said in the very beginning, before this stream started, I'm going to do some greens. I can, sorry for the noise, I can obviously show the manganese greens, the two versions that I ended up with, so the two final versions that I can make sort of consistently, and I'm saying sort of because still not a big pigment manufacturer. I still work in very small batches, meaning there can be differences between batches more easily. But, you know, not as much as it used to be. There isn't a brown one time and a green the other time. It's either I can make the moss green or the like a deep green, and I have two recipes for that give me a moss green and give me a deep green every time I make them. Also, this jar over here, I'm not going to drop it. I don't want to drop it as well. Emerald green, Paris green, Schweinfurtergrün, or whatever name you want to give it. The real thing. The absolute real thing. I dug it up for another pigment enthusiast last week. Offered it because of that through Instagram. And I thought, you know, let's put some in a glass jar so we can appreciate it a little bit better, because this is so much better than the version I had from eBay. Really so much better. I was very pleasantly surprised when I found a lot of this. So yeah. That's why I thought, you know, maybe do some greens. So I took something that sounds similar, but isn't. Emerald green from Colibri. And on their website, I'm going to check it, but on their website, when I bought it, it said PB36, but it doesn't sound or feel like PB36. It sounds way much denser, and it's heavier as well. And then I have indigo green, which is a mix of Reseda and indigo, both plants, and it's a mix by Kramer. So I think I'm going to do that today. Apart from the, you know, the real Paris green, I'm not going to make it on my live, but I will probably use this pigment for a new video, a new Paris green video, because this is just so much better. So I made, as a reference, you know, my simulation Paris green that I made. This was completely made after the one I had from eBay, and I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. This is just so much deeper, this one. Just brighter in every way. Ian, just leave the usernames alone. If you have a weird username, you know, here it's just Ian. I know you as Ian, I know the picture. If you have a username that doesn't fit, you know, how I know you, please, if I know your real name, kind of reintroduce yourself. We're in a safe group here, so you can, if you want to, just say your name. Just, Ian, make sure you behave yourself. I just said we're in a safe group. So yeah, genuine Paris green. I'm not going to make that. What I also wanted to show, and I showed that on my Instagram as well, but you know, I thought different audience. Right now here is a kind of a discount store called The Action, and this is a doorstop. It has rubber rings on it, but I took them off. I saw this at my brother's house. He bought it as a doorstop, and I thought, you know, wow, is this solid marble? There was a like an anti-slip thing, a rubber anti-scratch sticker underneath. I took it off because I thought, you know, maybe it's just filled with heavy metal or lead or something to make it heavier. But this is a solid block of marble, quite soft marble, especially compared to granite or glass. This costs €3, so I had to just, you know, buy one, file it. So file it. Well, this is I recognize your picture, but that is quite a difference in the username. But good to know. Mr. Pigment's welcome. That username hasn't changed because that's just Mr. Pigment. I can imagine you are annoyed. €3 for something that, right, when it comes to the grinding surface, is exactly the same size as my medium-sized muller, 8 centimeters in diameter. Teddy, welcome. It is way heavier than this one. I don't even know how heavy it is. Let's just measure that. 1.5 kilograms or 1400 grams. It's a little less. Sorry for lying. Almost. Let's have a look. 1.5 kilograms almost, I think. I think my largest muller before I got the one from Thomas, 1580 grams. It's not that much heavier, this one, than this one. So you can kind of imagine the weight of this, quite heavy, quite soft as a muller. So yeah, this is, I think it's an amazing find for anyone who does have kind of access to the same shop or a similar shop that offers them as well, because I can't imagine this is just shop bound. I just think this is a cheap thing from wherever it is from. Gulchen, welcome. But €3, I think it's a steal if you don't have a muller, if you are interested in making paint. It is super smooth. Really, you don't need large hands for this to kind of grab. You can just do it like this because the weight just, you know, it's a kilogram, almost 1.5 kilograms. The weight does most of the work. So really, truly, if you don't have a muller, if you're interested in making paint, or if you have some pigments but don't know what to do with them, and you run into this, get one. Don't use it for mineral pigments though, because I really think, well, the worst thing that can happen with marble, that's a good thing, I think. It can leave marble dust, which is just white, quite transparent, PW20, I believe, a pigment. This leaves a pigment as a residue when it's ground very, 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 very finely, which happens when you mill with it. I kind of looked if it was fully smooth underneath, so I put some silicium carbide, carborundum underneath it. That was too hard for this. I was left with a very, very small white kind of cloud of this stuff on my slab, meaning the silicium carbide was already way too hard to just kind of, you know, flatten this if it wasn't, but it was already, so that was good. But it also just took marble, literally, it took enough away to make it visible on my slab. So synthetic pigments, that is absolutely fine. Cheers, guys. Okay, so just for fun, I made a green dot on a piece of watercolor paper with a adding permanent marker. Not sponsored. Because this doesn't come in a lot of colors, but it comes in colors: orange, purple, red, blue, green, yellow, black, primaries, secondaries, tertiaries, a brown. I don't know if it has any turquoise, but you know, it does come in a brown, which is basically dark orange. But when it comes to a green, yellow, orange, red, blue, that's just one color. And I think this is a very distinct color. Like, this is a green that no one would argue it's green. That's green. Same with the red one. This is just red. Very red. Red, red. I was wondering if I can find out what kind of pigment has been used for the ink. So I already did a spectral curve here. This is the adding, which is a super flat line with everything farther than yellow and further back than blue. There's a bump in the green, perfect bump just between the cyan and the green, and the rest is just flat, which makes it like a green. Like I said, no one can argue that this is green. I'm going to have a look today somewhere during the live stream, or maybe one of you can artistpigments.org with the spectral curves to see if there's a pigment just similar to this. I think we should start with the phthalos, since it's an alcohol-based ink. It's permanent. Might be phthalo green yellow shade, by the way, looking at it like this. Shall we just have a look? Let's have a look. Everyone just ignore Ian, by the way. No, Mr. Biggles, you know, at Ian Jack, you know, the one that we see right now. Just ignore him. Well, looking at this is Da Vinci. I'm just going to look it up with from another brand. Brands that I usually don't pick. Not quite sure why I'm picking it right now. But Old Holland is kind of this basically exactly the same. The bump is correct, I think. Highest part in the 510s here as well, whereas here was the highest part 510, 520, a little bit before 520. So it's possible, but these are way higher. But maybe, you know, it's watercolor more transparent. Maybe this is, I don't know, not quite sure, but. Otherwise, when it comes to the flat line and the bump, quite similar. This is all PG 36. Let's have a look. Same. A little less high, the bump. Here. Let's see what Roman does. Just assuming that every brand carries a PG 36. Come on, Roman. You have one, right? That's different. Wow, that is something completely different. Yeah, this is okay. That's weird. Oh, in that case. Oh yeah, PW18. Sorry, Mr. Pigments. PW20 is mica, which I've been working with today. Mica flakes, so that's why the number was in my head. But you're absolutely right. Which still is. So I really don't understand that some white pigments. Or sorry, some PW pigments are labeled like that. Let's have a look. This is Colibris. I'm going to check the website because, hey, the website's open. I am not quite sure if this is correct. Just filling the bottle because I have never worked with it yet. Emerald green. Emerald green now is listed as PG7 on the website. It also looks quite different from what I have here. This is way more PG7. By the way, as you can see, it is listed here as PG7. Then this one over here. This definitely looks nothing like PG7. As you can hear, the bottle wasn't open yet. So I've never worked with this, but as I said, it feels, it also looks way more like a cobalt pigment. I'll wash my hands. You know, Indian yellow, that's... Sorry, let me correct that. Orpiment that is sold as Indian yellow. If that's possible, I'm just putting on my mask. Let's just make a little bit of this first with the proportions that I would use in a cobalt pigment. Because this is definitely not a phthalo at all. As you can see, re-wets super easily, and once I scooped it and saw the consistency, this has to be a cobalt green. It even looks like my manganese green after its first calcination. Then it isn't stable yet. Let me do a quick test. Let's see. I happen to have a little tube here. Let me quickly do a test for everyone to see if we can see any traces of anything in here that I otherwise wouldn't expect. That is a very green tube now. And we let this sit for a while. But why am I doing that? If it sinks down and this water is going to slightly turn violet, I know this is manganese. And they would be the ones who brought manganese green to the market and not me. So I really hope it doesn't turn violet. If it does, I will deny it being manganese anyway. I'm just sticking with cobalt because it has a slightly blue kind of sheen on it, which doesn't say anything. But, you know, sound-wise, Gulchen, you are absolutely right. Phthalos darken a lot. Phthalo green yellow shade almost looks like a phthalo green blue shade on the slab, except in its transparency. But as like a puddle of paint, it looks very, very dark.
where this one doesn't. Right, so I wasn't expecting this. I don't know what I was expecting actually. But look, you know, the consistency of the pigment in the bottle, and also the sound of it, shaking it as I showed you, and the weight. Alright, we have the adding marker there. And then we have the mystery pigment. Okay. We're going to let this dry. We'll let it dry in here. Is this no, it's not big enough. We're just going to let it dry there. And we're going to make some dots out of this. Teddy, this is it's too blue for a chromium oxide. At least the one that I have. By the way.
Since it's all wet, we can do this. So I wasn't expecting a mystery pigment, to be honest. But I know that this was on their list of pigments when I bought it, and it was back then. The list was only sent via email. They didn't have a website like they do right now, where you can order it. Still, I know they've been the war over there quite impacted had quite an impact on the company. I think, at least that's what I heard. And but I still really enjoy buying there and using their products, because they're very nice pigments. But this is definitely not PG36. It sounds like it absolutely sounds like cobalt. It's like it's 30-gram bottle. Let me have a look if that is also true. I think this bottle would kind of weigh 12 grams. It's definitely not 12 grams for a bottle. Do I have an empty one? I thought I had an empty one of these somewhere laying around, just kind of doing nothing for a long while, but I cleaned up the other day. Sometimes just, cleaning up isn't the wisest thing to do, since then you lose things. For instance, right now, I think I found the cap. That's really quite useless. I know. This malachite is almost empty. This is a 59 blue gray. This one as well. Wait, this is also a 59 gray. One's called Vivinite, the other one is called Vivinite Grey. What? Oh, that's not the same. Lapis. Lapis. I can combine these. Let's just do this, right? This lapis bicol. They have the same shade. Sometimes that differs a bit as well. Let's just very precisely put them on top of each other and just shake it off. Welcome, Super Doom King. Now we have an empty bottle. And then we know 50 grams of pigment. I took some out, which definitely was 3 grams worth. And here it says 30 grams. So this might have just been filled with the wrong pigment. Also a possibility. So, no more guessing, just finding a way to figure out how much is in the bottle. Super Doom King, I don't know if I just said it already. Welcome. Yeah, I know this one overfilled and overflowed. Okay, don't mention it. I know no one did, but don't start. So let's have a look. What kind of pigment do they have that kind of resembles that? Can we do it alphabetically? No. Featured, best-selling. Best-selling? Let's have a look. Volsconite, malachite, glauconite, celadonite, dioptase, chlorides, photophytes, perlicites, lectin. That's another glauconite. That is glauconite cold, glauconite burnt. Terra verte, celadonite lights. Glauconite green. Chromium oxide, which looks an awful lot like this, to be honest, but this is definitely not PG17. I mean, this looks an awfully lot like this. I mean, if I saw that on a picture and then got this, I truly believed that that would be that. But this is the swatch, and it's the wrong camera. This is the swatch. There is quite some, as you can see, loss in color, quite a drying shift. 100 milliliters of whiskey is gone. Where did it go? 100 mils. That's a decent amount. Also, this is, sorry for the mic, this is staying transparent on top. I'm not quite sure if you can see it. You can't see it, can you? Ah, yeah, you can see a little bit of transparency, but still some floating stuff on top. Not turning any violet, but also not sinking quite quickly, so it's definitely not as heavy as manganese. A lot of drying shift. There's a lot of drying shift. And this is my manganese green. When it's, I want to say when it's unwashed, which is definitely greener. But what about my washed version? I really think this is interesting. I really think this is very, very, very interesting. Since I have no idea what kind of pigment this is. It can't be chromium oxide, I think. I mean, I have no PG17 that comes close, that looks like this. This PG8 is as dark, it's not as heavy. I mean, PG17 is quite heavy. This is PG36, so this is that light and fluffy, as PG36 should be. Chromium oxide green hydrated, which is just PG18 for iridium, but it's also called chromium oxide. But also very fluffy, light, and the bluest PG17 that I have isn't even close. I mean, right, that just isn't it. Hey, welcome. Didn't read your username, but I saw a wave, so I'm just saying hi. I'll be back to my screen in a bit. Yeah, mystery. Luckily, we have a spectrometer that can help us with mysteries. Yeah, I think this is it's a weird one. Let's do a little bit of digging. Let's dig in. I'm stumbling over my words, so I need another drink. Which brand should be best to look up the Death Grays, also welcome. Here we are here. Maybe it wasn't PG36, but a PB36. But this is way too green to be a cobalt turquoise. It will be too green. Cobalt green deep. PG26. Let's have a look. Spectral curve. Let's first clean this up. For those of you who weren't in yet when I showed it, why the greens? I dug up some genuine Paris green last week for someone who I will be meeting tomorrow from the US. A kind of a pigment meeting thing, or at least a pigment enthusiast meeting thing. So I'm looking forward to that. But a person is doing research on greens and asked if I had some, a while back already, by the way, quite a long time ago, if I had some Paris green I could miss, and I do. Apparently more than I knew, which is always a good thing to find out. Like, you know, I know what my stock of Paris green is right now, and it kind of shocked me, the amount of it. That's why I'm selling some of it. Definitely not all of it. But this is the most gorgeous, rich, deep, vibrant version of Paris green that I have seen in a very long time. Last time I saw such a beautiful version was when I found it in the monastery. This is the stuff from the monastery. This is just very fine. Just a gorgeous example. Yeah, if I were to send some to anyone, my idea would be like in a glass vial like this, or at least, you know, overseas I would do it in plastic, by the way. I don't want to risk breaking it, but, you know, nearby Gulchen, in your case, and I would close this with epoxy, so it really can't open. If you don't want that, I will always ask you, but I don't want to risk anything happening. So yeah, if you're interested, why this? Because it's very clear and you can beautifully see the color. But so if you're interested, let me know. I was doing this. I'm using the reference of adding just for a bit, if you don't mind. Just for the spectral curve, because, you know, that was open still. So this is the dotted line is the emerald green, which is definitely not emerald green on the paper, but emerald green. That's the dotted line. Goes down a bit from the near ultraviolet, a peak at the bright greens, so that's 530. And then it goes up after 680 again to the near infrareds. So let's have a look. So it could be a cobalt. Looking at it, that does reflect infrared, but that has a dip here. And highest point at the 530 is a little bit late in this case. But let's see other brands. Let's just do Daniel Smith, because they just have a crazy amount of watercolors. Why can't I go down? Why can I not go down? Oh, there I can. Let's have a look. This is PG36 for them, which is the same as it is for everyone. Genuine diopside. Let me have a look how genuine it is. No, it's not. PG18. Okay. Well, let me have a look at a PG17. Do I need to go down for a PG17? I think I do, right? PG17, 17, where are you? Okay. So it might be chromium oxide. Color-wise, it isn't. Absolutely isn't. I mean, I'm just going to do it like this. This is nothing close to PG18 or PG17. PG19, I don't think it's 19. Let me have a look if which brands. Carry that. It's, well, looking at Michael Harding, that could be close, PG19. Otherwise, not so much, looking at all the other ones. I mean, this one looks more like my moss manganese. That's just too blue. That's just really a cobalt. This is more PG36. This looks more like zinc or chromium oxide, PG17. So, like, Michael Harding has has one that does come close. Let me go back. Can we go back? No, let's just go there, and then I'm quicker than why is this? Okay. Spectral curves. Michael Harding. And then we have, this is his 36, okay. There's no peak here, and this isn't as clean as this was. This goes up way too much. Just to make it a little bit more clear. That's nothing like this. I mean, that's way too steep. Plus, there isn't any like spike here, and this little bump is too smooth compared to this one. That's already here at 700. This isn't, no, it's not a green earth. Also, you know, also need to keep in account how it feels. It feels like a heavy metal one. It feels like cobalt. Also how it re-wets. Chromium oxide re-wets easily as well, but it's not nearly as transparent as this is, because this is really quite transparent when it dried up, plus quite a large drying shift. What else do we have here? Just, you know, as an example, green earth. The entire curve of a green earth is totally different. Different green earth, same kind of build-up structure here, apart from when it's made with something completely different. Chromium oxide here. This is just a bumpy bump, the bumpy bump, and it's not that like bumpy here. Bumpity bump. Wow, this is. Okay, haven't ruled out chromium oxide yet. I know that, Mr. Pigment, I know that there's a darker one, but this is, for a chromium oxide, this is just way too transparent. Really way too transparent. Plus there's a very large drying shift. Much more than I'm used to any PG17 that I have used. Well, like I said, I think this was misbottled. I think that's the best word for it, because the label says 30 grams, and this is this was 50 grams. What was in it? Also, you know, emerald green. It makes more sense for me PG36 than it does PG37, because like emerald is just a little bit more shiny. PG37 is just, for me, it's a little bit too blue. PG7, well, sorry. I think it was Miss Bottles. A Pigment is a PG17. This is the black PG17. I've made that a while back in the life. This is a really long time ago, by the way. Nothing that comes close to this kind of tint. This isn't a swatch. This is just an indication. It doesn't come near this same hue. This is bluish-ish. But way too light. No, it's just too yellow as well. We had this one. Let's have a look at PG 26. I would say it's this. Looking at this, my eye stops on the Schminke PG 26. I think that's it. Like just looking at it. But there's no guessing. We can check everything now. Need to check the right brand. And let's do a page 36. Where are you? 17. Oh, this is it, isn't it? No, it's not. What? 26. There you are. Doesn't have the bump here. Mel, welcome by the way. Any other guesses? You all have screens, right? You're looking at one right now, so go dig, go dig online to see what I have. No, I'm really not sure. I'm just going to let's have a look. Remove my patch and then add color bar, library, and then my greens, and then I have my this is my 26 over here. Definitely not even a little bit close. It fits within it. It doesn't match it. Okay, so remove patch. Add to color bar, and then see if my now, like I said, I haven't ruled out PG 17 yet. But it just doesn't come close to any of those who I saw online, or any of those that I've seen. Like looking at this as well, looking at how transparent it is, looking at well, the granulation. Some do have more granulation, but also looking at the drying shift isn't like any PG 17, either dark or the moss green one that I really have seen before. But on the other side, I haven't tried this one. And it says PG 17. You know what? I have a chemically pure chromium oxide, which is basically exactly the same thing as the pigment that we use in paint. It's like chromium oxide, period. But obviously there is always the factor of heating it with or without oxygen. So maybe I'm going on an adventure and have a look what that brings me. Like this is, I don't know, from Colibri. I really have to make my own. Yeah, this is the deep green. That's a very talented ox you have. Not quite sure what to say, Ian. Yeah, I can do that as well on the app on my phone. Also, I do. There is a library of it. The spectral curves on artspigment.org are the ones that I'm looking up are all watercolors, so I know that's the most of the time gum arabic based. The ones that he makes himself, I think, are also gum arabic based, since he also makes he makes the switch or they, I don't know, make the swatches themselves, and they show it on the internet as well. Like the swatches that you see are all from them. From dry pigments, they do exactly the same. So you in a swatch there, you can see the granulation or anything that applies, if you're interested in it. This is washed, twice washed. 2 calcinations. This is my deep green, and then I have the moss green. This is also more mossy after I washed it, after I fired it twice, than the one that I did once. So you can clearly see a difference. Where did I leave the paper? Between a first calcination and a second calcination, and then a wash. To be honest, no, this is correct. Is it correct? I think I made a mistake with the pigment here. Let's have a look. This is that one, this is that one. I think I screwed on the wrong cap. Let me have a look. Oh, I definitely did. I think I definitely did. Yeah, gonna change the text on the cap. Okay. Never mind. I thought something's not right here. That's more like it. I thought it was just like having a long day and being chaotic or something. It wasn't that. I just need to trust my eyes. So that's both manganese green. This is the moss version. Twice calcinated, twice washed, or once washed. Twice washed. I got that right on the label. And this is my deep manganese green. And then this, I'm just going to try everything right now. I've been making a little bit more, plus I've been playing a little bit with manganese greens to see kind of which way I can tweak it best if I want to offer them for sale. Which ones I like most. This wasn't my moss, because really I just messed up with the label. This is my moss. This is my deep. This is my one that is kind of in between, which has a different recipe, but this is the one that everyone liked back then when I showed the first time. Kind of what manganese green could look like, my first green. So this is the moss, this is deep, and this is kind of a combination, which kind of is more granulating, but also turns a little bit more to the blue side, whereas this goes yellow, like yellow moss, yellow green, and this is like more blue-ish. 3 of them, all 3 manganese green. All 3 played a little bit with proportions, time and heat, and I really need to change this label. I know you can't make anything out of K22 2.0 second. I can, but that's the wrong label on top of the jar. So there you go. I am, to be honest, I'm really proud of what I've achieved with manganese greens. When I'm going to sell them, Mel, and Mr. Pigment, by the way, this is not much. This is maybe also like 50, maybe 60, maybe 70. It's quite a heavy pigment, maybe 70 grams worth of pigment. I want to make bigger batches all at once, so there's just more consistency over a longer time. Right now I've made 5 gram batches just to try it out, and then I made a little bit bigger, like between 15 and 20 gram batches, but I want to make bigger batches to really have a consistency for, like, I want to say a while. I'm not going to make kilograms of it, but I don't expect to sell anything like that as well. And I really need to make a kind of a planning for myself, what to make when. You know, the good thing about pigments is making pigments and wanting to sell pigments is, apart from the calcination times, because that takes a long time, washing takes quite a long time as well, but I've made a centrifuge which works perfectly. I've tried that with my Indian yellow, and where I really had to wait overnight for one step of the Indian yellow, I can do it within a day, like within an afternoon, because of the centrifuge. So that is something I'm really happy with. Also, I can do that obviously after I wash the pigment. I can just put it in the centrifuge, pour out the separated liquids, pour out the pigments, and let it dry. So yeah, looking at this, I think this is a really nice set. I think personally I like this one best. I really like this natural looking one. This is like a more this is more yellow than this one. You're kind of within the same style, but this one is one that I really like. So that's that. What's the time? I'm not going to make it too more late. I'll give Colibri a call, because I really want to know what this was. And also, I might just order a few pigments from them. Going to add the chromium oxide in it as well. Never thought I would buy chromium oxide again, because I'm literally drowning in the stuff here. Be it not like all the same versions, so when it comes to my line of paint, I will eventually kind of run out of that one, and I will need to buy... I really need to put this somewhere else when I'm cleaning. I will need to buy a new one of that. No, I'll have a stock of it. Not a need for new chromium oxide. That's good to hear. Thank you, Mel. I really like it, like textural. I really like it. I have a sip left. That's just... Oh, that was a bit too much. It's definitely not manganese. Yay for my... I want to say mix, but it's not a mix. It's... in idea, in concept, it's a mix. But right now, we have... I'm just gonna make a bit of it, because I'm not quite sure if it smells the same as indigo does. Because I do not like that smell. Green indigo, which is reseda mixed with indigo. I already like it. Yeah, this is awesome. Reminds me of PG8 lots. Eee. It does smell a bit. Really not a fan of natural indigo. When it comes to the smell, when it comes to making it into a paint. Let's first have a look. I actually quite like this green. Nice. Probably just enough for a dot. And this one will probably shrink a lot knowing both pigments separately. To be honest, I know Rosetta, I know Indigo. I wouldn't have guessed it to make such a lovely green pigment. I think the non-applicable, like in the corner, the pigment number is really applicable for today. Applicable. Because I don't know what the emerald green is. This doesn't have a pigment number, and neither does manganese green. So that was just a lucky guess of mine. Okay, this is kind of sort of done. Kind of, sort of. Let me have a look if it... Indian yellow. I mean, it's quite a gorgeous, gorgeous looking Indian yellow if you ask me. But I really need to see if anything is sinking down. Yes, it is. I see agglomerations forming, meaning there are solids. I'm going to let it separate for just a bit longer, because just for the live, I'll let it like settle and separate, and I saw like a bright orange liquid on top, and I want that orange liquid incorporated in the pigment. And what I'm seeing right now is still, I think whatever is sinking down right now is a little bit too pale, which I really don't like that is happening again. And whatever is on top right now is also... That's not... You have to look at it from the side. Why don't we then? I don't know what's wrong with this camera. I think there's something wrong with the cable. You see, this is like a little bit too pale for my taste. This color is still there, but then on top there's a little lighter color, which I actually think is just a very nice physics thing. It's just the heat that's still in the beaker that blows, kind of that pushes the lighter pigment on top, like, and then it sinks down again. Just kind of dancing right now. I don't know if you can see. But definitely it's a yellow solid that is sinking down. So that is good. I'm going to let it evaporate. Right. Different recipe from an Indian yellow. Completely different method than I've showed before. Chemically the same. Completely different method. I'm not going to show it because either it's going to be a fail or either it's going to be an absolute massive win. And in both cases, I'm not going to share my method. So no, I'll let you know if this. I'll let you know if this is going to work. It's 24 hours now on 45 degrees. It's a good, warm Indian summer wind. I'm just going to imagine something like that. I might need to turn it down to 40, by the way. I'm going to call it a day. It does look like a mango. It does look like a mango dessert. It also smells a little bit like one, but quite stale mango dessert. Like a very stale mango cake, I think. And still might be even polite. It doesn't really smell nice. It might not. Got a whimp of something that once belonged to a mango with a lot of different things. Thank you so much everyone for joining. This was a greenish stream. If that works, I'm going to make a green with that. And I'll think about what to add. I'm not quite sure about that. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, tomorrow I'll have a field trip, a pigment field trip, which is nice. If I see anything or come across anything that is worth mentioning, I'll share it on my Instagram and share it in my on my posts here. Probably will be live this weekend. Also, oh wait, there's one thing, because I have forgotten about that, and I really wanted to show it to you, but then I found a pigment that I really didn't expect to be a mystery pigment. I just received this today. Natural Pigment Handbook from Lucy Mays from at London Pigments on Instagram. At least I'm not quite sure if they have a YouTube, but a lovely book on how to make pigments, pigment stories. Absolutely stunningly made. And what I really like, I just went through it real quickly. Haven't looked at it, haven't read it. That's Lucy. But what I saw, and I really was really happily surprised with there's just pigment recipes, guys, with gorgeous pictures, step by step, everything beautifully made. But I need one of these as well. I saw lapis lazuli being made into a pigment. I want to show you. I want to show this to you. I think it must be something. Making lapis lazuli pigment here, a beautifully step-by-step thing, chemical formula, the everything. But then after that, synthetic ultramarine, step by step, in the kiln, in temperatures that I can manage and reach. I'm going to make a synthetic ultramarine. I really thought I couldn't. I think I have most of what I need. I need to look up the translation for rosin because that needs 40 parts. Whereas, also lovely that this is in parts because absolutely amazing. 2 calcinations needed, both in temperatures that I can. 2 calcination, right? Yeah. Both temperatures that my kiln can reach. So yeah, absolutely going to try this one. But just, you know, having lapis lazuli first, starting with the mineral, and then just working your way to a pigment, and then this synthetic thing behind that. This was such a lovely surprise to see both of them mentioned in a beautifully made book. You can order it through her own website. I think this one was signed by her, a pre-order. And this Saturday on Pigment Revealed International, PRI, she has a book revealing party, a digital online book reveal party. Basically, I've ruined that right now. I just realized. Anyway, just join that because you can ask questions about it, and she shows and she tells about it. And you know, PRI meetings are always fun. PigmentRevealedInternational.com. You can register. It's free on. I want to say Zoom, but it might be fake. No, it's Zoom. It's usually Zoom. So yeah, try to join Saturday. I'll be there. It's at, I think, the same time as my lives here. I'll really need to look that up. I'll need to look it up in my language. I've seen things that I didn't know, like in English. I've seen them online, looking through chemicals, things, but it's all in Dutch. So I had to look some things up that I saw and read in that book. But beautifully made, step by step. Like the if you're interested in making pigments yourself, it's also about lake pigments and you know, the dyes and everything. Like I said, the matter, lapis. You don't need any kiln or chemicals or not a lot of chemicals to do it. You can do it literally. You can do it in your kitchen with in case of some pigments. So great book. This Saturday presentation. Hope to see you there. I am a member of PRI, not a board member, so I'm not affiliated with them like that. I did have a talk where I kind of missed all of you, but I hope to see you Saturday. Basically, you know, if for anyone who joins my live regularly, it's basically the same what I did there. But Saturday, it would be nice to see some of you. That's all I'm saying. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining. I'll be live this weekend as well, but it won't be on Saturday, obviously. But might be on Saturday earlier on the day. Not quite sure. I'm just guessing myself right now. I'm not quite sure. I'm just going to go offline. Bye, guys.